Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Genuine Business Stories, where we have real front porch chats that inspire success. I'm your host, Clint Strom, and today we're sitting down with somebody who has spent decades leading people, building experiences, and strengthening the communities he serves. Our guest, Terre Albert, owner of Ace Handyman Services in Magnolia in the Woodlands, and newly appointed president of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Before becoming a business owner, Terre spent years in leadership roles across the entertainment industry, from promotion coordinator at CBS Radio to director of sponsorship and special events at Sam Houston Race Park, and then serving as the general manager of the Texas Renaissance Festival, the largest event of its kind in the country. Today, he brings that leadership home, serving homeowners in craftsmanship and care through Ace Handyman Services and guiding one of the fastest growing chambers in Texas as it supports local businesses and shapes the future of our region. So settle in, grab your coffee, and let's dive into a journey with Terre Albert. Terre, how you doing today?
Man, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive right in. When you were a kid, did you have any entrepreneurial aspirations, a lemonade stand, pet rocks you sold, or?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. So when I was growing up and definitely in high school, you know, I was the guy that brought everybody together, whether that was an event at the school or, a house party that maybe my parents didn't know about. But, you know, I was the guy that brought a lot of people in different, the football team or anybody. So as some of my friends used to always joke whenever they knew that I was putting on concerts at the Sam Houston Race Park, they were like, Terre, this is what you were meant to do, because you always made crowds, you always brought people together, and you always kind of had the life of the party. So, you know, I maybe that's a little bit of my gift, is I can talk to anybody. I talk to people when I'm walking down the street on the way over here. I think, just we need more conversation in America, and I think that's what we need, people just to talk to each other. So I'm pretty good at that. So yeah, amazingly enough, I think everybody saw that I would do something like this as a young man.
Each other with respect, too.
Yes, amen.
So what kind of shaped your work ethic growing up?
My dad was a small business owner. Definitely saw him through some highs and lows. You know, I seen him struggle. I seen him worry about money, and I also seen whenever he was successful and was able to take care of us and provide, a car when you're 16, or send me off to college and be able to pay for it so I didn't have any student loans. All those things really shaped us to really, when our kids got to be that age, and me and my wife said the same thing, we're going to buckle down and do whatever it takes to make sure these kids have a good life and they can go and get their education where they want it and not be strapped down with that student loan at the end. So I guess my dad was my biggest influence, and really, I don't know that I appreciated him until I was in college, and I would come back and go sit down with him at the office, and he would have an interest in what I was studying. And also I could see what he was doing in business, right? I didn't really know that I would be a business owner at that particular point, but I knew I was coming out of college with a radio, television, film degree, specialized in marketing and sales. I thought I'd go into radio sales. Therefore, you see the CBS job, I was trying to work my way up, but I didn't work very fast and quickly moved over to Sam Houston.
So you started at CBS Radio, events and amusement operations. What kind of drew you to that fast-paced environment? That's a lot of moving cogs as we go through things that you've done in your career.
So, my at CBS, I was a remote engineer. So I would go and set up the equipment for the national broadcast when we'd go to the ACM Awards or CMA Awards in Nashville. And you know how the DJs, they kind of interview all the artists that are going to be in the show the couple days before. And, we're broadcasting live from the CMA Awards. So that, and then of course that led to car dealerships and different and Sam Houston. So Sam Houston was starting their country concert series. And we would broadcast live out there with, and back then it was Hudson and Harrigan and those big guys that were on the KILT radio. So I would set up all the equipment, which got me to know the marketing team because we were the marketing arm of the radio station there. So one thing leads to another. When they were looking for somebody to run the concerts and run marketing, they knew me already from CBS. So, I always say God has a way of putting you in situations and then it just leads to something else.
Yeah.
And my whole life is that way. So there from Sam Houston, there was a sales rep for KILT radio that knew King George out at the Renaissance Festival. And he said, we're looking for somebody to be the GM. So that relationship led me to Sam Houston. That relationship led me to Texas Renaissance Festival. So it's just amazing life of just being blessed in situations.
So the early environment, what did that teach you about teamwork, responsibility, and leadership?
Yeah, we were part of the promotions team, so we would, go out and do different things at different events. And, you had to make sure all those people were doing the right job and keeping in line. And then at Sam Houston, leading the concerts. Now that was box office, that was ticketing, marketing, sponsorship. We had to work with Budweiser and Verizon and all those people up in the suites to make sure they got all their coordination, got there on time. And then we had to set up the concerts, sound, lights, set chairs, sell tickets, and do everything. So, it's fast paced is what I can tell you. And I've always lived in a job that way. And I think I strive on it. So, maybe that's maybe that's a gift.
That sounds like pressure. But, pressure doesn't create leaders. It reveals them.
That's a great way to look at it. I've always heard the analogy of ducks and eagles, right? There's ducks and eagles in the world. Now we need ducks and we need eagles. And hopefully I've been the leader that we would classify as an eagle in that situation.
So you eventually became the GM of Texas Renaissance Festival. So that's a lot of pressure.
Well, there's a lot of stories there too.
It's like that type of pressure at that high level. I mean, there's a lot of dollars you were responsible for annually, and I know a little bit about it because of being good friends with your wedding coordinator that was out there for quite a few years. And
yeah, we did over 70 weddings, I think, or something like that. It was crazy. The Renaissance Festival was really probably one of those experiences in life that you can't hardly explain it. When I got there, I was the longest serving GM that the festival ever had.
I will just say that says a whole lot.
It says a whole lot.
I will leave it there.
Yeah, it does. And had a lot of fun. We grew the attendance and really kind of shaped it to be a more family-friendly venue. So when I got there, it had its own reputation, and it was fine. It was doing fantastic, drawing 400,000 plus people a year. But we thought we could kind of, it was kind of about that time of the Me Too movement, and it needed to calm down a little bit. So we went with more family-friendly, kids-free on Sundays, those kind of ideas. And we changed it to where it was almost 700,000 people over an 8-week period. So, you're talking 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people a day would drive out on those roads. But, what it also gave me the experience was we had to work with local police departments. We had to work with the county commissioner. We had to work with the city of Magnolia to make sure that what we were pushing through there in traffic was we were doing the best we could with the infrastructure that was in place, which at the time was a 2-lane road and a zigzag through the railroad tracks over there. So that was tough. We had over 35 police officers out there directing traffic.
With your job growing up out here, all I can remember is when it hit time for Renaissance, us locals were like going, yeah, how much till we're done with this and we don't have the traffic. Now, Terry, you can't really tell the difference with all everybody that's moved out.
Yeah, thank God they built all the roads now. So, the 249 goes around it, the overpass over the railroad tracks has solved that problem. So we went out there last weekend, the last weekend of the Ren Fair, and I really enjoyed it. I got to walk around the property. Old friends came up to me and talked to me, some of the food vendors, some of the bigger players out there. So it really blessed my soul to see them, because I hadn't been back in about 5 years. So that was like the first time to see everybody and see how they're doing, and see that the festival is still striving and doing well.
You know, when you go out to the festival, it's not something that you really stop to think about, and I didn't until we put this show together. Hundreds of workers.
3,000.
3,000. Then you've got your vendors, or they considered
workers.
So
the vendors, the talent, and then the actors, the people that work the box office, the security, the trash pick, like every good Texas facility, Buc-ee's or whatever, our bathrooms were spotless. And you know what? And I think anybody that has a big operation, and they kind of all go by the same playbook, right? You got clean bathrooms, people will come to enjoy themselves. I don't know what that is, but that was one of Georgia's biggest things, was clean bathrooms and clean property.
So what did your management structure look like? You had to have had a management team that you had vetted in order to make sure they could help keep everything running, because that's a lot of pieces.
So, yeah. So when I got there, I did a little bit of an overhaul of marketing. The entertainment director, Jeff Baldwin, is an amazing man, one of the best guys I can ever tell you that I've ever met. He's the heart and soul that made that place come alive every year with all the entertainment. He stayed, but my assistant GM I brought in from Sam Houston. She worked the vault at the horse track, so you knew she was good with money. Marketing I brought in because I knew they knew how to market a facility like we did. So, you know, there were some spots that I did some replacing. Vendor coordinator, you know, I wanted somebody that has a business background that was really buttoned up. So those things really helped whenever I started. So the office staff was comprised of maybe 7 key players. And then when it came Renaissance time, of course, the staff jumps to, you know, mostly seasonal help that goes through that season. So being able to coordinate that and then add new attractions, new stages, and after hours party tent in the campground that we did. And then that's when we started doing valley parking and preserve parking. All these ideas that I brought to the table required more staff to operate it. And I had a lot of help from a lot of connections from past that I could bring in and work during that time frame, because it didn't interfere with their current work.
And so when you look back on the massive amount of responsibility you have, what are some of the things that early on that you had to quickly figure out? Because you'd always had heavy responsibility, but now all of a sudden that's a massive operation. And there had to have been somewhat of a quick learning curve you had to put yourself through with all those moving parts.
I think the difference in the Renaissance Festival from Sam Houston was more, marketing director running the concerts, but there was always somebody that had to deal with, any problem with the public. Now, when you're the GM and CEO of the Texas Renaissance Festival, injuries on property, problems with a vendor, or all these things, you become the person that has to deal with people. And how do you deal with people? How do you handle it? How do you make both parties understand that you got to see both sides, and then, solve the problem? That was probably one of the things that the Renaissance Festival actually gave me 10 years of experience doing that, which led to, owning your own business that faces the public, that deals with customers on a daily basis, and how to handle things that are surprises on a job that you couldn't have predicted beforehand, that still have to be fixed, and you have to come to some agreement on price to get that job completed. And how do you deal with those customers? So that the Texas Renaissance gave me baptism by fire, which allows me to continue on. And then that leads to the Chamber, right? The Chamber is a great organization. It's 400 members strong plus, and we have everybody. People need different things. They need different levels of care, and we try to provide that from the Chamber standpoint.
I've always believed as a leader we should adapt to our employees' personalities, figure out what makes them tick.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them is time off. Some of them it's money. It can be a bonus. It can be words of affirmation. I marvel as I I watch some managers think that talking down to their employees is going to get the most out of them.
Yeah.
It frustrates me. It just, you know, in a lot of cases you find those managers are short-lived in that position because they don't get the most out of their employees. And I figure if I've got to fire somebody when I've been in that position, it's because I hired wrong. It was on me.
Yeah, it is always on you. You didn't see something.
Yeah.
You didn't pick up on something during that interview that should have been a red flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens, and that's happened in every, line of work that I've been in. Let me tell you. So yes, you're 100%. Sometimes you just got to blame yourself for something that goes wrong like that. But luckily, I've had been blessed, and I have some really great employees that can run the business without me while I go into venture into what I love to do, which is chamber life. And I've loved that for a long time, as you mentioned. And I think it's really the calling that, was laid upon my heart. And that's really what I want to do.
Good deal. So when you left the Renaissance, what did you do next right before you decided to open your own business? And then what kind of transferred into going, it's time for me to run my own business?
Well, I'd worked for some pretty hard people, so I left there and went out to Big Rivers Water Park, which was Grand, Texas. The grand vision of having a big new replace Astroworld.
So was that fun?
That was fun. I liked working in water park all summer. I actually went up and interviewed for another theme park up in Pennsylvania. And I was blessed that Grand, Texas, Monty called me up to go work there, and I got to work there for about a year. And then it was about the same time as COVID. So, that we parted ways, and then COVID hit, and then the guy that ran theme parks and had a background in entertainment marketing quickly found that there was nobody hiring, right? Theme parks were closed.
Yeah.
And if they were open, they weren't hiring anybody new. They were trying to figure out how we're going to get through this. Same thing with the music business, completely died, because you had to stay 6 feet apart. So as I was at home with my children, because they went on spring break and never went back, and we were enjoying the company of having our kids at home playing board games. And, we don't ever think about COVID as that time that we got to spend with our family. So much time with our family. Some's good and bad, but ours was all great. But when we got to the end of that and we said, okay, you can kind of see the end of it. Me and my wife said, well, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to go back into the theme park management business? Or I said, well, I worked for enough hard people that I want to be responsible for my own destiny right now. So we got with a broker. We looked at different franchises. And when we saw Ace Handyman Services being a part of Ace Hardware, knowing what their customer service ethics are, and they bring helpful, their helpful store, and Ace Handyman was going to bring helpful to your home, our servant heart just said, you know what, that's it. So we can help people whenever they're most vulnerable, whenever they're had a water leak and it destroyed the drywall or something, or when they need help with a toilet that's running, or, just all the little things that you have in home ownership. Some of these people are single moms. Some of them are people that just can't do it anymore, can't climb a ladder to get a smoke detector down, or some of them, are the people that just need help in so many different ways, right?
So tell me of a time that touched your heart where the family was in need, had a catastrophe at their home where you guys were able to step in and kind of ease that anxiety or stress they were feeling. And
so we had one lady, and I forget her name right now, but she called. They just moved here, sight unseen house from out of state. And when I asked her where she was from, she goes, I don't want to tell you. And I said, you're from California, right? She goes, yeah. I said, well, we love everybody here in Texas. So we got to get over there. Her husband was wheelchair bound. They had a dog. I can't remember his name. He had something wrong with him too. And this lady was just really needing help. It was all over the place. Ceiling fans didn't work. Fences were not sturdy enough for the dog. And so we jumped in real quick. and she became one of our best customers. And she would call us, because they couldn't do it. They'd call us, and she'd refer us to neighbors, and we would go over there and do that. And then she called us one day and said that her husband passed.
Mm.
And we got to know him so well that, it was just me and Peggy, and we just broke down right there in the office because we had learned to love this family, right? That's why you do it. You build relationships, and, I have the privilege of being on the Ace Handyman University. I also do validation calls with new owners, and I tell them that's why you're getting into this business. If you think you're going to get rich, turn away. If you want to help people and you make a living, then it's a great business to buy. But, you're doing it because you want to help somebody.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it, right? That's the calling, that's the servant. That's what you're supposed to be.
So what was one of the early on biggest surprises you had going from with your career, all your promotion and stuff? It's not that you just had an endless bucket to promote, but you had more of a bucket to promote yourself than you did with Ace. So, kind of tell us some of the early challenges when you're building the business and the revenue versus setting the budgets because the revenue's already there.
Yeah. So when you own your own business, you got to really focus on what drives business, right? When you have $1 million budget for a concert series, it's easy to spread that money into, back in that day, radio, television, digital marketing was still very infant back then. So, posters and partnerships with like Walgreens to sell tickets for the concert. So you have a poster in every Walgreens. You were more creative, I think. And then, same thing with the Renaissance Festival, all those marketing dollars, because, we had a big budget and we had a lot of big sponsors. So we could go partner with, C&D Scrap Metal and go give him tickets for anybody who brought in metal, or go with DeMontron and go out and shoot a commercial with the King, and then we would get tagged in their radio. We had a lot more of that. And when you own your own business like Ace, you're all by yourself now, right? So it's not we have a partnership with Ace Hardware, but we don't get to be in their advertising. We're solely responsible for our 3 territories in Montgomery County.
So I'm curious about something with franchises. The role that I had with one of our really large insurance companies in leadership, it's like you have, we'll call them franchise models, but these agents own their own agency. But there's always that manager back at corporate, even though you own your own agency, that you have to. Some of my friends go, I had to deal with you. I was sure glad you never come in and try to tell me how smart you were. Always went and went, how can I serve you? Kind of like what you're talking about, that servant's heart. Do you have that type of structure back with Ace?
Yes. So Ace Corporate, Ace Handyman Corporate Office, which is in Colorado, it's great. They support us if we need them. Now, somebody who's been in marketing for a long time, I don't ask for them for a lot of help. I just do it myself because I understand it. But for a new franchise owner that maybe comes from a different background, they will provide that support as needed. We have regional support that meets with us once a month, that goes over all the initiatives. They post on our social media. They do stuff from the marketing department.
That's a big help.
Oh God, yes. But then we post local stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, their stuff is pretty corporate. You can see it. You can see the corporate slant to it. The stuff that we post locally is when we're doing stuff with a local, entity like Make-A-Wish, when we go out and help them rebuild a boy's home that's coming home, right? All those kind of things. And then we make sure that we're doing everything to show that we're locally owned. Me and Amy, we live here in the community. We've been a part of this community for 20 years now, and we're just here to help.
Social media and the chamber have been probably 2 of your greatest assets with the Ace as far as marketing. When you came from that background where you had to do a lot of marketing to push your events and stuff, and what's kind of that transition now on a smaller level that you found has worked to brand yourself here in the community?
Yeah, to brand yourself in the community with a small business, you really, I believe in impression marketing. Impression marketing means that your image, your brand is in front of as many eyeballs as it can see. You don't really have to go into great detail as to what Ace Handyman is, although, some people are still surprised that, oh, I didn't know you did that. But the impression marketing, is getting that logo in front of a lot of people. You can do that with social media. You can do it by boosting the post so that it plays on reels, or you can, the same thing what the chamber does very well is social media marketing, where they do the events and they send out pictures after our luncheons or after the parade. We just got the video back from the parade, and I'm sure that'll be on social media and go everywhere. But it's a much smaller scale. So you have to figure out, where can I maximize those eyeballs? And as far as Ace and the chamber would be concerned, we want to be considered when that decision is being made. Whether it's I'm going to consider the chamber because I want to grow my business and I see what they do and I know that they can help me. Same thing with Ace. Right now, I don't need something in my home. Everything's working. But when something breaks, the first name I want them to think of is Ace, because I've seen it 7 to 8 times somehow, some way. That's the magic number. How many impressions does it take before you get considered?
So do you do any direct mail, or is it a lot of social media, or?
We do no direct mail. Well, let me preface that. Every time we go work for a customer, as soon as we're done, we send out a postcard, thanking them for their business and giving them a discount for their next return, right, when they call us again. And we do that to every customer. And every day we probably go through about anywhere from, it could be as small as 8 customers, or it could be as many as 20, right, if we're doing small 2-hour jobs here and there. So that keeps our office staff pretty busy, just sending out postcards at our return, but no other direct
signs in the yard when you're doing the work there, or?
No, we do have them. And same thing with door hangers, right? Here's what I've learned about door hangers here in Texas. They get thrown away, or most of the neighborhoods that we work in that are our customers, there's a big sign on that front gate that says what? No soliciting.
Yeah.
So, and same thing in my neighborhood. When somebody comes and's knocking on the door, the pest control guy, it goes out on our social media that says, hey, it's XYZ pest control guys in the neighborhood, and he won't take no for an answer. That's not what I want to be. I don't want to be the guy that's breaking the rules in these neighborhoods to try to put signs up or door hangers. We're going to go off our reputation. We're going to tell people on the phone to go look at our Google reviews, the ones that we can't delete, the ones that are hard, right? And you go read our reputation. And at the end of that, if you want to hire us, then we're proud to come serve you. But we have a great reputation,
Well, and I ask about signs in the yard. My dad was a general contractor out here for years.
Yep.
Meadow Ranch, Thousand Oaks. But anytime that he built or had a job going in that yard, they'd let him put out his signs so that neighbors would see. And there were times where that generated business for him, where the neighbor would walk over and go, I need you to look at this.
It's one of the mainstays that Ace Corporate asked us to do. The difference is a lot of the Ace handyman, their craftsmen, drive their own vehicle. I have cars, trucks, vans. So when you're sitting there working in the house, my van is logoed to Hilt right there parked in front. So
Gotcha.
Putting that sign up is not as important.
Redundant.
Yeah. Now, if you were starting out one of these franchises and you didn't have those logoed vehicles and everything, then I would say putting a sign up would be kind of important. So especially multi-day jobs, you can leave it behind for a couple of days and let it sit there.
So for your scope, what is probably the average amount of time you spend on a job? I know you've got your quick, day maintenance where you go and you help somebody out, and then you've got larger projects you do.
Our average ticket price is $750. That tells you something, should tell the listening audience something. We do big jobs. We will do the 1-hour appointments because we want to help people, but we have such talented craftsmen on our team that when somebody calls and they're wanting to turn attic space that should have been a media room in the original floor plan of the house when it was built, but somebody didn't pay for the upgrade, the original owner, but it's still there. It's made for it. can you come finish out this room and turn it into my media room? Yeah, we can do that. We got a deck that needs to be built. And we say, well, how about we build it out of Trex? And those are big projects, big dollar projects. So, and we got great drywall guys that can match any texture in the world. So, when your house is destroyed, and we just finished one on Lake Conroe, a second story condo leaked down into the bottom one and just destroyed it. So we had to rebuild the whole house, right? I mean, I'm talking, there was nothing but studs when we walked in. So, that 750 tells you we do some pretty big projects.
Yeah. So at what point, once you started it, did you sit back and go, okay, this is gonna work? There's always a little bit of anxiety when you start a business until you feel it starting to pick up some traction and you go, okay.
I think it was about the 3-year mark. We had been in business. We have a great reputation. We have good repeat business, customers calling us. Even on the way over here, like 3 of the phone calls I got from the answering service, they're all 3 past customers, and now they got a next project for us. When you start seeing that snowball and you realize, they got it, and then you move into year 4 and then 4.5. And then it seems like now I'm just going in the office and I'm just there to make Peggy laugh, for a little while. She doesn't need me anymore. Right. And she can answer the phone and do anything. She's got 5 years experience and knows what she's talking about. And, and that's kind of segues to the chamber, right?
Yeah.
Whenever this position was available, I had been the interim president before, in between presidents. And everybody always kind of asked, Terry, that you'd be a great president. Well, I couldn't because I own my own small business. I got to run that. Well, at this particular point in time, it was the right time. And I thought, man, this is really what I would enjoy doing and I'm good at.
People remember how you made them feel long after you finish that job. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get your repeat business. So tell me a little bit about your community service. I know that you're big on that, whether it's involved with the chamber or stuff. With all of your positions, it's had an impact on the community. And in most cases, if not all, it's bringing joy to the community. It is that release valve. It is, we all get busy with our lives, and you've been very much involved with helping people have that fun or release with what you do. And now that comfort of, we've got a problem and we can fix it and it'll be okay.
Yep. Being a problem solver is one way to say it, I guess, because there's a solution to everything, I believe. And maybe that's another talent that I've been able to use over the years. But, working in the community, my heart is all 100% in the Magnolia area, whether it's our church, which, we love, or it's being a part of helping out SOS, helping out, I guess I don't say no enough. People ask and I say, yeah, sure. I was with a men's group this morning. So somebody, one of our friends walked in and goes, hey, we have 30 guys that meet over here at the Mexican food restaurant, and we break bread every Thursday morning. Would you come over? I said, well, sure, I would. And then I think he thought about it, and he called me up during the week and goes, hey, man, he goes, you really don't have to make it. I know you're busy. I know you got, you got new staff starting. You got this, that, and there. You don't need to come to the breakfast. And I said, no, why would I not? I say, yes. So I went over there this morning, and I got to meet 20 to 30 just amazing men that had been in business, that we got to talk about my son going to college up in Colorado School of Mines. And one of them said, I used to go up there and recruit engineers from mines because they're good. It's just amazing the world that you can always talk to somebody and meet new people. I think that's what I really like doing. It's just meeting new people and maybe putting a smile on their face.
I've got a friend of mine that he's now involved with a bigger network for men's groups, and at Woods Edge, our church, he has that, and he's invited me, and I finally went, it starts at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
45 minutes away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Say, man, I would love to come to your men's group. It'd be a great way to start out a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, I am not a morning person. And for me to be over there at 7, then you figure what time I'm actually having to get up to get ready.
Yeah. Well, I have the pleasure of a wife who gets up at 4:30 in the morning, and I got 2 dogs, and the one dog comes back to the second favorite human, me, and starts trying to, spoon me. And so I just wake up. So I'm up. And then once I'm up, my mind's going, and it's time to get some business done. So I either go into the chamber office or I'll go to ACE, or this morning I went to the men's group. So, yeah, I don't have that problem, I guess.
So as we wind down the segment on your business, ACE Handyman Service, tell me, what are some of the misconceptions that homeowners often have about hiring a handyman service?
That it's a simple project. They'll try to minimize it, but every project is unique, and it has its own variables that you can't control. We changed some posts on the guy's back porch this week. We didn't know if the posts were sitting on the back slab or if they were in the ground because they had a big stone column around them. And the only way I could find out is I bust out the column, and I didn't want to do that. So when we did bust out the column, we had posts that were buried 3 foot in the ground. So we got to get a house jack and pull those posts out. And of course it went up. The price went up on the job, and the customer's very nice. He understood. He saw what was happening. I think a lot of times customers think things are easy, maybe because they see Chip and Joanna Gaines on TV remodel a house in a day. That house was not remodeled in a day. That took weeks, and whenever they're not on camera, there's a whole crew that comes in and fixes that, right? I'm just saying, I think that's what happens. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what happens.
By the way, you've been quoted.
Yeah. So I hope they don't come after me. But I think people see that, and they see, all those TV shows that are out there that they can remodel a kitchen in a 2 or 3 days. That's not true. It takes time to do it right, to do it with the right person, to take all the time it needs, and to make sure that after the job is over, customer is 100% satisfied with the work. So I think that's the biggest misconception with home remodeling, home improvement, is that it's an easy, small job and anybody can do it. And that's just not true.
We're going to move into our business insurance spotlight that we've started doing. These are the recommended coverages for businesses like ACE Handyman Services. General liability, professional liability, workers' comp, commercial auto, inland marine, which covers tools and equipment that are mobile and not at your own office, umbrella or excess liability, cyber liability, and EPLI. Insurance disclaimer: this information is general in nature. Always consult a licensed commercial insurance agent to review your options and your operations, your risk, to determine the right coverage. So right now we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into Terry's role as president of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes, on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
And welcome back to Genuine Business Stories. We're with Terry today, and we're going to discuss now that he is now the president of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. I have the privilege of working with him on the outside as I'm a member, and I am very much appreciating his leadership skills. I'm excited about the direction where this chamber is growing, growth, the things that are being put in place to give back to our businesses to help benefit them, help them to grow their businesses. And there are a lot of amazing things going on with this chamber. And Terry's been involved with this chamber for more than a decade. He's served as a chamber in multiple leadership capacities over the years. He's held the role of board member, contributing to strategic planning and community engagement. Terry has served multiple times as the board chair, helping to guide the chamber through various stages of growth and regional expansion. Through his board service, he's gained firsthand insight into the needs of local businesses, the challenges they face, the opportunities available for community collaboration. His long-term involvement reflects his deep commitment to supporting the businesses in our community and strengthening the economic infrastructure of the Southwest Montgomery County. These roles provide the experience, credibility, and trusted leadership foundation that naturally led him to his current position as president of the chamber. So Terry, tell us, what does stepping into the role of president for our chamber mean to you personally?
You know, I believe in chamber life. I believe that a chamber is a great vehicle for a business to not only participate in the community, but to help guide the business community in general. It means the world to me that, when I presented this to the board, that they unanimously said 100%, we would love for you to be president of our chamber. And it took because I put it out there, and then a month went by, and I was like, well, maybe they don't want me to be president of the chamber. But they were waiting for our annual retreat meeting in October to have a meeting with everybody there and have a discussion about it. And, it touched me quite a bit, it broke me down whenever I was finally accepted for the role. I guess, I've been the interim president before, in between. It wasn't quite this. It wasn't this. It was basically being able to keep by the bylaws, our infrastructure, and keep things running. But now being the president and being responsible for the direction and the vision and things that we've been part of building as a board, but now I get to go implement. And before, board is, it gives the direction. The president, takes that direction and goes forward. So now, not only have I been a part of building the strategic plan, leading the direction, seeing the growth, and shaping what the chamber is to the community, making it a little, different than other chambers. We have our own identity, and I'm proud of that identity. But now getting to basically be the driver, if you would. A lot of times you're the passenger, but now as the driver, I'm really excited as to be able to lead this chamber to the direction that the board is wanting it to go.
So help me with the evolution of the chamber. If I'm correct with my facts, when you would have started here, it would have been the Magnolia Chamber of Commerce. Is that correct?
Correct.
Then was there a merger that took place? Did we merge with another chamber?
Yes. So it was the Magnolia Chamber of Commerce, and then it was the Magnolia Parkway Chamber of Commerce. And at the time, there was the 2978 area, and then there was the city of Magnolia area. And there was a gap, a 15-minute gap between the two. As many people in the community, we were members of both. We had to pay membership dues to both because we serviced both areas. That's because we were a big company. And over time, we recognized, and we were right, that there was going to be a middle ground that is going to happen sooner than later. And now there is the middle ground in the 149 Spur area, where now we have Lowe's, H-E-B, Academy's coming, Home Depot's coming. All those areas are commerce, and then the communities that are being built around it. I was lucky enough to be on the committee that merged the two chambers. And when we got board members from the Magnolia Parkway Chamber and board members from the Magnolia Chamber together, it just made sense. I mean, we didn't need two chambers. So we had the merger. We had both chambers vote. We combined the staff to some extent, and then we went through it, right? As any business merger happens, there's the growing pains. And then once it stabilized and we had a new president in place, and we were ready to rock, and then the middle ground formed. Now we're setting on a whole nother expansion, that we're about to experience in Southwest Montgomery County. And as my wife always says, you always join an operation or a business when it's about to explode. And I said, yeah, I do have that privilege every time. So, I'm excited for what's coming. I'm also excited that we are now the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, which services a bigger portion, basically all of Commissioner Precinct 2, Commissioner Riley's Precinct 2 is kind of what we look at as our service territory.
Now,
Which
I was told real quick before we get too far into this, the name Southwest Montgomery County Chamber, when it was changed to that, I was told that actually with some research, that was actually the original name many years ago when a chamber was founded in Magnolia.
That's right. Yeah, it was. So it's funny how we come full circle back to that name. So, we got the East Montgomery County Chamber, we got Conroe, we got Woodlands, and now we have the big Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, which, we have so much coming in our direction. And brings a smile to my face just to think about it. And not everybody welcomes that, but as a business owner, as a and somebody who is advocating for a small business and wants that connection, I love it. And I think it's really amazing. And we're building all kind of new things out in our area. So I'm excited, really excited.
As the owner of a commercial insurance brokerage, I'm excited.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I'm not going to lie. Growing up in this area, there is kind of a love-hate.
Yeah,
I love the business opportunities that are coming, but I absolutely hate the traffic.
I think everybody does. But, it's going to get fixed. Everybody hated the Renaissance traffic, but, when they finish the roads, there's no more traffic, right? So we just got to get through that growing pain. And we'll work with our elected officials and everybody as we get through that. And then when it's done, then we will have the fruits of all that labor, and we will be able to be a very strong, advocate for the businesses in our community.
Now, as we've gone through a portion of your career, it's obvious that you have incredible leadership skills. But tell me, what are you going to have to do to adapt those leadership skills? Because now this model, it is a little different than event coordination and running an entire business. It is dealing with a bunch of type A personalities of all of us owning our own business. We all have our own opinions. And when you are business owners, nobody is shy about giving you their opinion.
Amen. So dealing with, customers, you have to learn how to listen. You have to make sure that they know they're being heard. And then you have to make the best decision for your business. It's similar in a chamber. We're going to have a lot of opinions because we got a lot of strong business owners, and they all have things that they're bringing to the table. And I never like, some people say, I want to be the smartest man in the room. I don't want to be the smartest man in the room. I want to have smart people around me that can give me their opinions, and then I take them and we'll go with the best solution. So
I know from a learning standpoint, I've learned if I walk into a room and I'm the smartest man in that room, I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah, we got a problem.
Because what can we gain?
Nothing.
If I'm the smartest man in that room, then you've got a little bit of a happy personality, and then a little bit of a cantankerous personality as I age. Not very much, only about 2% of it, but.
Well, I think what we are blessed with is a board that is diverse, very intelligent, and they are hardworking. We have a working board.
Yeah.
If you have been on any type of board in the past and you show up for your quarterly meeting or monthly meeting and you go through the motions, you approve the minutes, and you move on, right? Oh, no. Our board, our leaders in our events, our Christmas parades, our awards banquets, golf tournaments, whatever, all those events. Plus, they are so smart, right? And they will give you their experience and give you some suggestions. And I think that is what is different. Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce, we haven't lost our identity that we had when we were the Magnolia Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
It's a small town feel. It's a welcoming feel. When we have a new business, I don't care where you're from, you're welcome here. We're going to talk to you. We're going to get to know you. And I think that's our biggest selling point for our Chamber of Commerce.
In the business members, the willingness to give up of their time. I didn't realize the Magnolia Parade that everybody just got to enjoy this
That's right.
this past weekend. That committee meets year round, where now they'll start planning next year's, or will there be a little break in there?
Month to month until about 2 months out, and then it's every week.
And then on top of those, I'm not a member of that committee there, but there were those of us that come out to start setting up on Friday, and then there was Saturday the parade, and then Sunday the cleanup. There's a whole lot that our business owners do to make opportunities enjoyable, to promote the community, to help you with your businesses to grow. It is, if you're not a member of our chamber, you are really missing out. For $1 spend to be able to meet incredible individuals that you can learn from. It's other business owners, and all of us as business owners can use that type of interaction to see what other business owners are seeing. And then the ability to start having opportunities to grow your business while supporting your community. It's almost like the perfect storm for a business.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said you get what you give, and a chamber is a very big example of that. People that are in our community, business owners that participate in our events or participate in chamber events, that come to our events and become known in our community for helping and volunteering their time. It's rewarding. Our membership, basic membership is not very expensive at all. It's $350 a year. And that does some basic stuff for you.
And right off the bat, we've got a committee that we've done where it's going to put business owners, if they want to join the committee, in a position to get out, to be in front of other businesses. That helping to promote the chamber also starts building you that relationship. So it's also other opportunities. I would say one could argue you almost cannot find a better spin rate for us if you go with the basic chamber. Now, there's a lot of benefits to going with other packages, but even just that basic, if you're a brand new company and you're looking for a place where you're kind of cash strapped because you're new, then that base, you're not going to find a better area to spend your money than you are that base join of the chamber.
Definitely. Even like our small business that I run, we found people in the chamber and that we become our preferred vendors. So by spending, they could have met me another way, but the chamber helped them make that connection. And I validate them for joining the chamber by saying, hey, you're a flooring company. We don't do a lot of flooring. Or you're an electric company. I don't do electrical work. I don't have a licensed guy. Plumbing, same way. All of a sudden, these guys, every time we get a phone call, we send business to them. Same thing with the chamber. Somebody calls the chamber and says, hey, you know a good plumber, or if you know a good HVAC company, then we'll send them to Access Mechanical. It's just, we have all those businesses are in our network, and we know them personally through relationships with, their volunteer work in the community and we know their heart. So I know that whenever I'm sending somebody to these businesses that I feel 100% confident that they're going to take care of you. And that's what the chamber does for you.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that's a lot of people, that's why a lot of people join the chamber, but if they utilize all the different marketing elements, they will be rewarded so much more than their spend.
Well, and another thing that we're implementing under your leadership is with one of our committees, we're going to work with our ambassadors committee to help start teaching our businesses how to maximize their membership so that they can get the greatest reward on both sides, giving back to the community, but also for growing their business.
Yep. Whether that's sponsoring a luncheon and getting up and telling a room of 150 people about your business and what you can do for their people, or if it's digital marketing assets that we can do, either social media or email blasts, or being on everything that we send out. There's so much that the chamber does in the community that you as a business can participate and get your name out there. Goes back to some impression marketing that we talked about. If your logo, if you're one of our bigger members, gold, silver, platinum, even, your logo is out there all year round for all the events that we do. and people are seeing it as we promote it, and they share it on social media. It just keeps, it's really neat, and I think people should use it as a marketing tool more than just I'm being a part of a chamber. It's not the Better Business Bureau, right? It's something bigger than that, because we're actually advocating for you. We're going out and promoting your business, and we're validating you.
So we're seeing incredible growth in Southwest Montgomery County. What opportunities do you see that this creates for small to mid-sized businesses?
Well, just for instance, we're a 400 plus member organization. Our goal this year is to bring in over 200 more new members as this growth comes. And that growth is going to allow you to have a bigger networking umbrella. It's going to allow you to meet people that can either help you in business or will be your customers in business. So the growth that is coming this way is only going to make that membership more valuable. It'll allow you to network. It'll allow you to have more people to market to be quite honest. So I think, the growth that's coming this direction, Southwest Montgomery County is one of the fastest growing areas in the country, not just Texas. So with that coming this direction, we are sitting on powder keg. It's going to blow, right? And it's already started. And so, being a part of the business community is going to be very important for a lot of businesses.
One of the challenges with rapid development, it can change a community. How do we preserve the small town welcoming feel this region is known for? Because we've got to grow, but part of what's drawing people here is that small town feel. I think the way we do our school districts here is the school where they're looking at having to build another high school in other schools. And as our superintendent discussed with us, they've got an average size they want to keep these high schools. And when he discussed how come, it is keeping those schools manageable. There's only so many spots on the debate club or the football team or the basketball team, and it provides extra opportunities for our kids to learn. But also, this is just my opinion, with that type of foresight, the more that we can break these schools into and keep them into manageable, that's less kids per classroom for our teachers. But it also makes it more difficult for any type of gang activity to seriously take hold. With some of our other schools in our neighboring counties, that's a challenge for them because their high schools get so large that if that happens, then all of a sudden that spreads and it is hard to contain it.
Yeah. I think the developers that are coming this direction to build these master plan communities are taking into account and they're listening to what the community is. Two-Step Farms, for example. They have a pavilion for live music that can hold 900 people. And then they're going to build an opera house. If that doesn't scream Magnolia and the country feel, I don't know what does. Same thing with Creston and Colton. You can see how they're developing. They're developing these things with a central hub for community.
Yeah.
That is important. I think it'll keep the small town feel of the area intact, which will in turn, if they get another school and everything else, it keeps the whole community in that same vein. This is Magnolia. This is the area that they wanted to live in because they wanted that experience, and they can still provide it.
Yeah. So what are some of the feedback that you're getting from local business owners about what they're telling you they want the future of our area to look like?
I don't know if I get a lot of feedback on what they want it to look like, but, they obviously want to make sure that we don't, turn to city, right? This is still, country life, country living. I want to keep that Christmas parade, right? And I saw some posts about that over the weekend. It's, good, bad, or indifferent. They're like, why would you want to, expand this area so much that we would lose something like this? And that just makes me scratch my head. Why would we ever lose something like that? Why would we lose our small hometown Christmas parade that's 100 floats now. I guess it's not small anymore. But those kind of feelings. I don't think anybody has that in their mind that they're going to transform us into something different out here. I think if anything, we are welcoming in people that want that, and we'll expand it even further. So that business-wise, all the big things that are coming out here, they're going to service that community. They're going to be big names. But at the end of the day, I think you're still going to have a lot of small businesses that are still going to be all the mom and pops that are going to flourish out here just as well, that want that small town feel. As long as we can hold on to that, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. So for someone unsure about joining the chamber, let's kind of tell them what the true value is. Kind of just let them know why they want to be part of this chamber.
Well, the chamber is there to be an advocate for your business. So, it's a collective whole, so when you join a group like that, we can, if something needs to be addressed, then we can get together, whether that's with the Government Affairs Committee or the member advocacy group that's starting. It allows you to be bigger than just yourself, going out and saying, I don't like the way this is going down, or I don't like what you're doing here. We can do surveys for the businesses. And then all of a sudden, if we find out in those surveys that this keeps coming up over and over again, then we need to focus on it. Focus on it from, the chamber and giving you support to help it. So, that is kind of one thing. The two is marketing and helping you grow your business, putting your name in front of a lot of people. If it's a new business, then you need to get the word out that you exist. And we can do that multiple ways with advanced membership. Those things have all kind of embedded marketing elements in there that we can do to help you support your business and get your name known in the area. So, that's why you join it. And then the second part is it lets you, get involved in something bigger, something that's community driven. That if you see something for like a nonprofit or something that you want to support, and the chamber has a lot of nonprofits that may speak to your heart, that you could support as your business. We'll have a nonprofit roundtable coming up at one of the luncheons. And I'm proud to say that we're going to have Dan Pastorini as our guest speaker, to speak to all that and talk about his philanthropy with that. So I just found out this morning. So I wanted to drop that in there.
That'll be exciting.
Yes, that's right. Oilers football quarterback and during the Love You Blue era.
So let's talk about some of our events that we have. Because I believe, like we just had our Christmas parade, that do we have any estimates on attendance on that? I know it's early and we just wrapped this up, but
I do not. I would say there's probably somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 people out on those streets. And from my feedback, most people said it was normally just one row deep of people.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 5 rows deep this year. So the city mayor, Doc, he said that he was going to give me some numbers. They have a way to estimate the attendance out there. So as soon as we have it, we'll be able to share it. The Chamber's mission and vision and goals have to be in every event that we do. Whether that's to promote business, to promote the community, advocate for business, or, to get your name out. So we want to do big events so that we can get your name in front of people. So everybody had a float out there, had a business that gets to ride in front of 5,000 people and be known. It's wasn't very expensive to get a float. You may have spent some money on that float, but that's kind of what that's for. People go, well, why does the chamber do the Christmas parade? Well, I just answered it, right? Marketing.
And you can participate in that parade without even doing a float. I know my dad with his cars.
Yes.
He had a Camaro that was a Pro Street Camaro 69 that he had involved in Tomball and Magnolias. His convertible Corvette, black on black, which is now mine. He had that top down with people riding in that car and his business on the side of it. So you can be involved without having to go through the time, if you don't have it, for building an entire float. And you can come out and just have a lot of fun.
I think I told you this, but the funny story is I had my convertible 67 Camaro. It was a straight six, and I had Kevin Brady in my car, and that car was not meant to go 2 miles per hour. It was meant to, it didn't have the fan motors on it, and it was getting close to the end of the parade, and I was looking at Kevin, and I was like, I think we're going to break down. And we got on the back street that was dark, and sure enough, I think Charlie Riley, some other people had to get out and help us push the car to the side of the road. He had to jump in with them. And then I went and finished the parade and came back. Of course, the car started right up. But yeah, you don't have to have a float. You can participate with anything. You can ride a bike if you like. Just walk with your signs and hand out stuff.
Our monthly luncheons are, I consider them an important part of business, is making sure, because that is where you're going to get informed about what's going on in our community and items like that. The other thing that I was thinking, can we give a shout out to some of our major sponsors? Because we've got some pretty big players that mean a lot to our community too.
Yep. Some of our platinum sponsor, we just got Wood Forest Bank. They just increased their sponsorship. We have some of the big developments, Creston, and then we have Colton is new, and they're platinum or gold. And then we have some business community partners, like Houston Methodist, that is one of our key sponsors for just about everything we do.
Didn't we just have another hospital that come on with us too?
The Tomball Regional Health.
Yeah.
Yep. They're big. They support anything that is, not anything, but a lot of the different nonprofits like Joyride, and they have generous hearts, and they come to our luncheons and they award those funds for people that apply to them. So, yes, we're 100% happy with the, and if I'm missing somebody, I apologize.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have put you.
Yeah, you put
you on the spot.
Like I should go and look and see who our sponsors are. But no, they did a fantastic job. But those are some of the new ones. And then Terre, which is a new community and auto bond for 62 and up. They're about to come on board as a big sponsor. And we're talking with Keating, Chevrolet. They're going to be new, big sponsor. So, and that's all just happened in the last couple of weeks. So as you can imagine, I've been on the phone and talking with some of our past people that have been members, and then getting them back, and then go on beyond that to find some other big names in our community to be our big sponsors.
For any of our sponsors that may have been left out, we will get you in our next show, because my next show is going to be dedicated to getting the most out of your chamber usage in Southwest Montgomery County. Will be the chamber we're focused on, so we'll make sure that you get your shout out in that program. So our chambers often serve as the voice of business. We take information back to our local officials. I know that at some point with TxDOT and the work on 1488, there's been individuals in the chamber that have stepped in to get some help with some of the construction they're putting in to get some changes. So let's kind of talk about how we work as an advocacy back to and with our local government to make sure that there's clear lines of communication, and our local government kind of sees what's going on in our business community too.
Yep. Very clear. The chamber is not political. It is a business advocacy. So we get feedback from our members, and we present that feedback to those who need to hear it. We don't go pushing for anything. We just say, hey, I think you should need to hear this, right? Some of them got some different changes to, 1488, got some access for their business, and it was warranted, right? And then we were happy to help in that position. But, that's what we should be here for, is to listen, to make sure they know that they're being heard, and then share that information with who needs to hear it. And then, be the voice for the business community. So that's kind of the role that we take in most of those situations.
Yeah. So what do we see that qualifies of qualities that make for somebody to come and be a great board or committee member, because that's part of giving back?
Well, a diverse board means that you have talented people from many different lines of business, whether that's an attorney or somebody from a bank for financial advice, or insurance or something like that, which, there may be a board position open right now that I'm looking. It's for some, a new person. And we look, and it's an appointed board position, because it was my board position that just came open as I took the president's role. So, we kind of look at the membership at whole, who participates, who's who's given us great help, and then who would be a good fit that would bring their talent to the board that makes it well-rounded. So, we definitely look for that and help. And then, because it is a working board, who puts the time in to help us whenever we need a volunteer for something. So all those qualities come into play whenever we're looking for somebody to be on our board.
And then how do you think is the best way for us to get out that our committees for people to serve on are good? And I know when we join as members, we know that there are committees to join. What the one committee I'm a part of, well, I'm a part of a couple, but the business advocacy.
Yes.
I want a huge push. As far as I'm concerned, I want everybody in the chamber to be part of the membership side of that committee. But I just signed somebody up, and part of what we've got to discuss is I've got to figure out what I've got to do to help them, because since I went out to help them get involved, I brought the stuff back, but now we've got to get their profile and things like that, and that's kind of the stuff of.
So that's the chamber's job, is to educate, either with an ambassador program that we have, which goes out and kind of lays out, now you're a member, here's what you need to do. First one is build profile on the web page. And then they got hot deals on there. You can put, something that says, because mention Southwest Montgomery County Chamber and get, 25% off of a half day service or whatever, whatever your business is. Make sure you're doing that. I'd also increase your SEO, because, Google looks for your name on other big sites, so you can help with that. But that's what we need to do. And you're right. Every member of the chamber should be an ambassador for the chamber. It only helps them whenever they are out in the community and say, I'm a member, and be proud that you're a member of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. And when you run into somebody else, it's a buddy, a friend of yours that has a business in the area, you go, why aren't you a member of the chamber?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if it would help me any. Well, here's how it could help. Education to our members is to, once they realize what the chamber can do for them, they'll go and tell the next person what it can do for them. So, that is a big component of what we're talking about with the business advocacy.
And that is a great way for people to get the tools that they need.
Right.
Is to join our new committee, the Business Advocacy and Membership.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Because it's going to be a big push this year. We're going to touch the existing members, go out and talk to them, survey them, see how we can help them. And then we're going to do a couple times a year where we're just going to go out and talk to anybody that is not a member of our chamber and our community and our service territory. And we're going to tell them why it's important to be a part of the chamber. And then we're going to grow this thing so big that it'll be, better for everybody.
And actually, to add to that, we've created opportunities for a sign-up sheet where you can come and grab 5 businesses.
Yes.
And sign up, go out in pairs, pick who you want to go out with, go into the community, pushing for the membership side of our committee with the chamber, where you're being able to show what the chamber can provide. But for you as a business owner, that also opens up a door for you to start building relationships with that business going forward.
So we let our members we're going to let them kind of pick which team they want to be on, right? So I was a HVAC member for the chamber. I would want to talk to somebody who does drywall work, plumbing work, because I know when I'm in the house, somebody's going to ask me, and I need to find somebody that I can trust. So if we have, 5 of those names, you'll go out. You'll represent Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Tell them why they need to be a member of the chamber. And then, oh, by the way, here's my company, and if I can help you in any way, shape, or form. And then they're going to go back and start that relationship. So everybody should want to participate in that, because they're going to get to meet so many new people that are currently not members that can help them grow their business. So I think our membership should jump 100% on board for those membership drives and different things that we're going to put in part this year.
Yeah. So as our new president, tell me, what is your vision, and where do you see us in 5 years with the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce?
The chamber is going to grow. It's going to be, we're just, looking right now. So in 2020, we had 620,000 people in the Montgomery County area. In 2024, 750. We're growing fast. So we need to make sure that the chamber grows along with it. So, it's going to take more people. It's going to be more than just me and an office manager and a marketing person to run this thing. So, I see that change happening over the next 5 years, whether it's full or part-time staff coming on board, because a working board's great, but a working board can be taxed, especially on these big events.
Yeah.
So definitely that. And then, the other thing that are happening in this area is these major new things like Lone Star College Magnolia Center. Our ribbon cutting is January 13th. And that's going to be a new big hub of people that are employed in that community.
And you know what? We'd love to see the community, whether you're members or not, come out to support that ribbon cutting.
Oh, we should, because what we're missing right now, and I'm going to turn and take a left, is, we tell all our kids to go to college. We're losing people in the trades, people welding, people in HVAC, people that in carpentry work and all that stuff. And that generation of people that know how to do that, they're getting older, and we don't have the people that can go do those jobs. So that Lone Star community, that Lone Star Center in Magnolia is going to be going to focus on that. So I can't wait for that to open. And then, just the infrastructure being complete, the developments that are coming will be complete, and it's going to change the landscape of the chamber. It's going to change the landscape of the community. But I think it's going to make this area just beautiful. And I think we just want to be a part of the growth and make sure that we're servicing all those businesses as best we can.
Yeah. So we're going to go in, as we wrap this up, back into the insurance spotlight, the coverages for protecting a chamber and their risk. Those key coverages would be general liability, D&O, which is directors and officers, professional liability, workers' comp, cyber liability, event liability, bonding and crime coverage, property and office contents, which would be commercial property in many cases. Insurance disclaimer: this information is general in nature. Always consult a licensed commercial insurance agent to review your operations and determine the right coverage for your specific business. So, Terry, we're going to go, as we wind this down, life inside and outside of work. How do you unwind?
So, I think we talked a little bit about how I operate in a fast-paced life my whole life. I unwind by watching the Rockets and Astros, and working on my fantasy football team, which I'm second place right now. Sorry about that out there, guys. I'm coming. And family. My wife has stood beside me through all these ventures, and she's my biggest cheerleader. Spending time with her. Now that our kids are out of the house, we've been finding things like we just gotten back from Tennessee, where we watched the Texans play Tennessee Titans. So we're traveling more, and it's allowing us to get to know each other better. And other than that, man, it seems like we have something to do every night. We're going to Champions Church tonight to watch the Christmas pageant. So all that, we just make sure we kind of break away from thinking about business and thinking about chamber when we can.
We've got a family Christmas party that my fiance's uncle puts on every year, and it is quite the event. It's something we really look forward to. Want some advice? What's the best leadership advice you've ever received?
Oh, man. Don't expect what you don't inspect. And then the 7 P's: prior planning prevents poor performance. That was my first boss at Sam Houston Race Park, Mr. Bob Bork. God rest his soul. He was a great guy, and he always had tidbits of wisdom for us. So
what's some advice you'd give a new business owner just starting out?
Don't in our line of work, don't tackle the big things. Work on the small things first. You got to get up and running. You got to get your processes in place. You got to get procedures that help you do everything. When you're building all those, document them so that, you can remember how you do things. And, just be patient. Owning a small business is not for the faint of heart. Being a small business owner is sometimes tough. You sacrifice family, you sacrifice a lot of different things, but, and a lot of prayer. If you ain't got somebody in your office praying for you every day like we do, pray yourself, because God can help you get through some of the tough times.
Well, and having those processes documented and written down will help. You and I were discussing the situation I created for myself, and a lot of times we put ourselves on autopilot.
Yes.
And we get so focused and so busy, we don't look at contingents. And my mistake potentially cost me a good customer going forward. Not that they were upset, but I didn't produce because something occurred with coverages in carriers that I didn't believe would happen when they were like, oh, we can't do this.
Right.
And I didn't leave myself enough time to pivot.
That's right.
And quite honestly, the process is I should have been exploring both avenues instead of just one.
Correct.
And sometimes we need those processes just to review and read them to remind us to stay alert.
Yep.
So if you could tell to your younger self on day one of starting your career out, what would you tell yourself?
You're never going to believe this ride you're going to go on. I mean, you got to look at my life. It's the wildest. I call them lives. So my first life was live entertainment, music festivals. The second life was theme park management. My third life was owning a small business and a handyman company. None of these seemed to jive together. And then all of a sudden, now I'm on my fourth life, which is chamber president.
Yeah, and great things are going to happen. So we're going to run into our lightning round.
Oh, gosh.
Festival food or Texas barbecue?
Texas barbecue meeting place, man. I love that place.
A power tool you can't live without?
ChatGPT. Oh, that's not a power tool. You talk about.
Look, we can't live without that, but
a power tool I can't live without. Oh God, what a saw. My Milwaukee tools, every one of them.
All right, Renaissance garb or handyman jeans?
Handyman jeans. I was always afraid to get into the garb, but I ended up getting into it eventually.
So you just said it, and say it again. Your favorite local restaurant?
That was a meeting place.
A meeting place.
Yeah.
One word you hope people use to describe your leadership?
I guess even. And somebody that's even on all sides, listens, and does the right thing.
Good deal. Terry, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today, from your early roots in entertainment to becoming a trusted business owner and now serving as president of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce. Your story is powerful. It's full of examples of what can happen when leadership, service, and community all work together. As a follow-up note on the episode that will air after this episode, it will be an episode that is focused on our Chamber of Commerce, the role in the community, ideas of how you can get the most out of your chamber. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on Genuine Business Stories. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love to have you consider becoming a sponsor, making a donation to Lone Star Community Radio, or sharing this episode with a friend or fellow entrepreneur. This show is not possible without Dick and Lone Star Community Radio, so please consider doing that. He provides a real service to voices in our community. And if you know a business owner with a story worth sharing, have them reach out. They might just be our next guest. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and keep it genuine. Thanks for listening.